Good evening, friends. It's my delight to welcome all of you today to a very interesting program, which is to look at the opportunities for students to study in foreign university or universities in GIFT IFSC. All of you must be aware about GIFT City, as you know, you are all residents of Ahmedabad or Gujarat. It is a very unique place. GIFT City was visualized, obviously, for all the financial technology and international finance, but now it is also getting into quality education, and it is probably the first place in the country which has been earmarked for attracting foreign universities to come and offer their, I would say, latest and state of the art educational courses so that our students do not have to travel all over the world or to different foreign countries. I'm aware that nearly 15 to 20 lakh students go for higher studies. US probably, attracts around 1.5 to 2 lakhs, and Australia has been attracting close to 1 lakh students every year. Other countries are also favorite destinations, and I would say that the numbers are going up for the simple reason that there is a value that is seen by the students who want to build their careers. I personally think that it's a great initiative that has been taken by Government of India along with GIFT City, and it will attract many people who would like to go for value education for the sake of value for money. After all, education is terribly expensive when you go abroad. So GIFT City provides a kind of a context and kind of an atmosphere that is going to be appropriate for people who are seeking knowledge, who are seeking qualification, which is going to be appropriate for the, you may say, the future world. With me, I have, got today many celebrities or many experts from this. Mr. Sandip Shah, he is from GIFT City and is head of IFSC department. And he is the one who is going to coordinate the entire panel discussion today. In the panel, we will be having Professor Margaret Topping, who is the Pro Vice-Chancellor, Global Engagement, Queen's University, Belfast. She is joining us virtually. Mr. Saldanha, he is the Marketing Manager of Deakin University. Mr. Kalyani, Campus Director of University of Wollongong here in India. Mr. Akshat Ganeriwala, he is the Manager for Development in IFSCA. And obviously, we have got your presence, which will be helping us in the interaction. Professor Margaret Topping has served as Pro Vice-Chancellor for Global Engagement at Queen's University, Belfast since 2011 and is the lead academic overseeing the university's strategic engagement with GIFT City. She is a distinguished academic in the field of French and intellectual communication. Professor Topping brings extensive international experience from previous academic roles at the universities of Oxford, Bangor, and Cardiff. Mr. Saldanha is the marketing manager of Deakin University here in GIFT City. He is an experienced marketing professional with a decade of expertise spanning telecom, manufacturing, ITES, and higher education sector. Currently spearheading marketing efforts for Deakin University's first international branch campus in GIFT City. He specialized in digital marketing, marketing operations, relationship management, and outreach. Mr. Nymay Kalyani, who is the campus director of University of Wollongong, India, originally from Gujarat. He has professional background of 30 years. He developed his expertise in quality and business improvement in Hong Kong, demonstrating leadership in cross-border operations, M&A, and automation. After earning his MBA and MAF, he contributed to the academia at the University of Newcastle. Mr. Akshat Ganeriwala joined IFSCA in 2020 and belongs to the first batch of officers who were recruited from the civil services examination process. Prior to this, he was working with the project monitoring group at the Invest India. As you must be all knowing, Invest India has been a great initiative of the Ministry of Commerce, which was created for the sake of attracting foreign investment for obviously a lot of economic growth within the country. The project monitoring group is an institutional mechanism set up by the Government of India for the expedited resolution of issues and regulatory bottlenecks in infrastructure projects with investments of over 500 crores. Presently, he is working as Manager Development in IFSCA and is looking after international affairs and registration of foreign universities in IFSC. He holds a BA LLB degree from Symbiosis Law School, Pune. The coordinator of the panel discussion today, Mr. Sandip Shah, is the head of the IFSC department at Gujarat International Finance Tech City Company Limited, which is called the GIFT, where he plays a pivotal role in developing and promoting India's first international financial services center. With over 15 years of experience in financial services, regulations, and policy development, he has been actively involved since the inception of IFSC in India. He works closely with regulatory bodies like IFSCA, RBI, SEBI, and IRDAI to introduce and expand key business verticals, including aircraft leasing, offshore fund management, fintech, and bullion exchange. An author of the book GIFT IFSC, a comprehensive guide. He is obviously the best suited person to really conduct the entire panel discussion today. He is the recipient of the Under 40 Investment Professionals Award and has previously held roles at HSBC and NSDL. It is my delight to welcome each one of them with a small gift from AMA. And of course, I wish Mrs. Margaret all the very best to give us complete, I would say, picture of what is being done and how it is going to be good for all of us over here. So with that, I would like to now hand over the mic and the responsibility to Sandip Shah to carry this particular program forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I think I can see, parents as well as aspiring students basically to kind of understand how they can become part of the new mandate. Probably students, when they were actually looking for higher studies, I think in India, largely, the JEE and some of these critical exams are the priority, or many times students like to look at the global opportunities as well. And when they were looking at global opportunities in terms of going abroad, either to Australia, Canada, or US, there are always concerns in the nature of one, getting the right institute to be a part of it. Second, geopolitical, tensions. I think the parents largely are concerned about whether, the center or the country that my kid is looking at, whether there is a long-term, commitment or the success that he will get based on the, that program that he's choosing. And also, there are various financial and economic reasons in terms of deciding those locations. And probably, I think, India being such a large country, and we realized when we were actually developing International Financial Services Center, so many of our own businesses, whether in the nature of offshore banking, offshore insurance, capital markets, asset management, I think for various reasons, these businesses were carried out through some of the other global centers. And idea was to see how do we onshore the offshore financial activities. And happy to share that with the efforts of Government of India, the IFSC authority, which is the unified regulator in the zone, and Government of Gujarat, GIFT City has attracted more than 800 financial and technology institutions today, at GIFT. And many of the businesses that GIFT City today, attracts in the nature of banking, there are more than 31 banks operating, and the banking asset size is more than $80 billion today. If GIFT was not created, this $80 billion was lying in offshore branches of either Indian or foreign banks. Now that is the strength of the zone or the center that we are going to discuss today, and why it is important to discuss both business as well as the education today, and that's where we have very esteemed panel here. Margaret, we would have loved to have you in person here, but thanks for joining virtually for the session today. Just to give you a sense, today in the room, as I mentioned, parents as well as aspiring students are here, and they want to understand about the GIFT City ecosystem as well as about the plans of the foreign universities, because in the past none of them have kind of heard of getting the foreign degree sitting in India, right? So that is something which is new for everyone, and that's where I think today's panel is going to be very interesting, and it's going to be a very enlightening in terms of how as a student we can look at the new segment which we have never discussed. But before we deep dive into the university part of it, I think I'll start with Akshat, from IFSC authority. So in the education world, if you ask any university, they are largely connected with regulators like UGC or AICTE. Whenever you look at the advertisement of any university, say in India today, they will always mention that recognized by UGC or licensed by UGC or AICTE. But today, probably the universities that we are going to discuss, they are talking of IFSC authority. So you will have to help us understand what has been the thought process of Government of India and the regulator for permitting foreign universities to set up their campus here, because as IFSCA, you are a financial services regulator, and encouraging and inviting foreign universities to be a part of your ecosystem has been a great initiative and steps. So please help us understand in terms of the thought process and idea about bringing the foreign universities in GIFT City. And then probably we'll discuss more in detail about how it is different from the other universities and how it is similar to the foreign universities which are already operating in other global centers. So over to you, Akshat. Yeah.
At the outset, I would like to thank Ahmedabad Management Association for organizing this session. It's a pleasure to be here, and I think the session theme is extremely critical and important. And because a lot of students are here, so I think for the benefit of all students, that the policy reform of having foreign universities in India's first financial center seems probably a bit unconventional or odd, because essentially GIFT is a financial center where you have financial companies, you have technology companies. So how does that integrate with the whole concept of having universities? So let me tell you about the thought process of the government. So what government did was they studied all prominent global financial centers of the world, whether you take Singapore, Hong Kong, London, and all of us realized that these centers thrive not because of concentration of financial institutions. They say they have, London has 2,000 financial companies, Hong Kong has 10,000 financial companies, but essentially these centers are thriving and have been successful because of the talent. It is the talent that drives these financial centers. So with that thought process, government was of the view that GIFT, if it has to become a prominent global financial center, we need continuous supply of quality talent. And with that intent and objective, this progressive policy reform was sort of implemented. And another aspect is that, as many of you may be aware, that we are really at the cusp of a very transformative journey. Every day we hear in the newspapers, we are the 5th largest economy. Prime Minister set a goal of, Viksit Bharat 2047. you'll be surprised, 50% of the Indian population is students and youth, so below 30 years of age. Now, to have this to inculcate capacities and enhance productivities, skilling and education investment in skilling and education is extremely critical. So with that thought process, government, because GIFT is a free zone or a special economic zone, in its wisdom thought that they should permit foreign universities here. What foreign universities bring on the table is international curriculum, international pedagogy, international faculty. I think why Indians want to pursue education abroad principally is, apart from better career prospects and immigration sort of potential, is that these, at least the top universities in the world, they have top faculty. And faculty is a very scarce resource. I mean, Harvard and Stanford are what they are because of the faculty that they have. So these foreign universities, now we already have 4 universities, 2 are up and running, 2 will be, Margaret would be able to tell us better when Queen's will become operational. So in the next about 2-3 years, we should have half a dozen foreign universities, so they will bring their own faculty. They will bring their own curriculum. So I think that will enhance the overall competitiveness of the Indian higher education ecosystem as well. So I think that was the entire thought process of the government.
No, great. I think probably we are seeing the results of these initiatives because till recently, I think students have been trying for years to kind of become part of some of these global universities, and they spend a lot of time, efforts, as well as money to kind of become part of some of these universities that we are going to discuss today. Now I'll come to so probably by now you would have realized that the financial center in GIFT City is like a deemed foreign territory where financial institutions as well as the education institutes, they are as good as having their offices or campuses in the offshore territory. So technically, when you see HSBC or a Standard Chartered Bank or even say ICICI Bank or a Kotak Bank in the IFSC GIFT City, they are not branches like say branches in Ahmedabad or Mumbai or any other location. They are as good as having operations in Singapore, Dubai or Hong Kong, both from a business perspective as well as from the activities that they are carrying out. So they deal in dollars, they don't deal in rupee, they deal with foreign clients, and they also get certain tax incentives basically at par with some of the other global jurisdictions. And similarly, as Akshat mentioned, the IFSC authority has come up with the kind of a guidelines, and I think he'll speak more about the regulations in terms of how it is different from a normal university regulations. And using that regulations, the universities have started coming in. This is the first year of the universities where they've already launched certain programs, and we are fortunate to have 2 such universities from Australia here today, which have started their campuses already, and the university from UK, which has recently got the approval. Margaret is going to discuss about their plans very shortly about the UK university. How you can become part of the UK university. Now, Carl, I'll come to you because you were the first university to establish the campus, and I still remember the event where Australian Prime Minister and Indian Prime Minister came to kind of launch this first campus, right? And probably it would be good for all of us to kind of understand. Students, I think in Gujarat have generally aspired to go to Australia and become part of some of these universities, including Deakin University. And I'm sure Indian students in your Australia campus, you've seen the trend and how they are becoming part of your university in Australia. But this time you actually come closer to the students' home place, right? I think Deakin University establishing, and I think I understand this is the first overseas campus for you outside Australia.
Yes, it is.
Right, set up directly in GIFT City. Again, we as a Gujarat, we should also be proud, basically, that the first Australian overseas campus of Deakin University is established in Gujarat at GIFT City. Now, what is the difference between, say, studying in, say, Deakin University, Australia, and Deakin University in GIFT City? And if you can help us understand your journey of establishing the campus here, and then probably we'll discuss more in detail about the experience of students and the kind of faculties that you have. But probably a first very instant, basics about the Deakin University in GIFT City. Yeah.
So when the NEP was launched and when that thought process from the Honorable Finance Minister came that, universities can set up, from that thought till setting up the campus, 18 months. So we set up our campus from a thought process to a physical building and launching it within 18 months. And that's thanks to IFSCA and GIFT for all their support. Within 9 months, the structure came up physically. Our aim to start the campus in India was with the thought process in India, with India, for India. So when we launched our campus here, our thought process was with this tagline, in India, with India, for India. We've been in India for the past 30 years, but it has been majorly research tie-ups with eminent universities, institutions, sending students from India to our campuses in Australia. And yes, we have 4 campuses in Victoria, in Australia itself. This is our first international campus and 5th one in India. The reason we chose India is because a huge diaspora of our students are from India that study in Australia. As a marketing person, there are 3 major reasons. We did a short study and we understood 3 major reasons Indian students have when they're choosing their higher education. It's fees, first of all, above anything. The quality of education, the type of accreditation the program has, the relevance it has. And third, the outcomes that the program can give. Now, keeping that in mind, the first thing we did was we started these programs at half the cost than what we would offer in Australia. So that takes away a huge chunk of financial responsibility a student would have. Second is, both are different ecosystems, both have a different driving factor, Australia and India. The aim is a student who does not want to leave their home country. What for them? Someone wants an international education, but the constraint is, I do not want to leave my parents, I do not want to leave my siblings, I do not want to leave the social structure I have. What do I do in that sense? That is where we came in. And with that is what we brought a highly accredited course, relevant to the ecosystem. These programs match with the ecosystem within GIFT and within India. So the 2 programs we've launched are emerging tech programs, a master's in cybersecurity and a master's in business analytics. So these 2 programs are poised to give them a high relevance when they go out after doing these programs, because India is at a digitalization curve. So both these skill sets are going to be very critical when the country reaches those capacities. So that's the thought behind starting these 2 programs and coming into GIFT City and Gujarat and India, first of all.
Thanks. So I think, as you can make out, the programs are largely master's program to start with. So in case, a graduate student from Gujarat or in India, looking to be a part of the foreign university, Deakin University from Australia has a campus in GIFT City. They have started with 2 programs, Masters in Cybersecurity, as he mentioned, and the first batch is already up and running. So probably it would be also a good opportunity for you to kind of visit the campus, see the facility, and also interact with faculties as well as students in terms of how has been the journey, of last 1 year to be a part of this unique experience. Now coming to, Nymay, probably for you it's more like coming back to home. He was in Australia for more than a decade, or more than a decade, basically from Gujarat. And I think he has come back to Gujarat along with a university. So University of Wollongong, again, one of the well-known university in Australia. Probably many times the credibility of university is generally known based on the ranking. And I think it would be good for all of us to understand the ranking, and probably if you can also compare with the parallel universities in India which fall under the same ranking, which will help you to understand what kind of quality education that these universities are bringing here. And considering your global experience, if you can also share your thoughts about how University of Wollongong is looking at GIFT City campus, and fintech is the buzzword today, as we all of us know. And the first program that you have launched is again related to the fintech. So it would be also good for us to understand the details about the program and how do you see Wollongong shaping up their campus in GIFT City.
Definitely. Well, firstly, thank you, AMA and GIFT, for providing this platform. Your question is quite interesting and quite threefold. So starting with the reputation of the university, if you look at the global ranking, we rank 167th in the world. How does that translate to India? In India, if you consider the same ranking system, IIT Mumbai ranks number 1, IIT Delhi ranks number 2, and then it's us. Our ranking comes at par. So if you are looking at a quality education with that reputation, we fall in the same leagues as the 2 IITs in Delhi and Mumbai. But more so, we come with a global exposure. So as he rightly said, I've come back from Australia, but then how does that translate into a classroom? And to translate that into a classroom, I'm going to show off a little bit about my academics. So we've got a Professor Kiran Trivedi, who's come back from Seattle, Northwest University. Similarly, we have another person who's come back from UK, and so on and so forth. So the team that is going to be in the classroom, the team that's there on the campus, everybody comes from quite a global exposure. And that translates into the students' experience in the classroom. So when we're teaching a concept or some sort of a theory, how it contextualizes for the Indian workforce, for the Indian markets, for the Indian businesses, but at the same time, how it would apply in the other parts of the world. So it's more like a global exposure with a local correspondence, making it a local university. The other bit being the quality of education, as Carl rightly said, and so did Akshat, that the pedagogy comes from there, the content comes from there, and then it is contextualized to the local market. So when a student walks into a classroom, which is driven by technology, and it's not just that you're learning about technology, but you're actually experiencing it firsthand. Our classrooms, we don't have projectors, we don't have chalkboards, we have proper interactive boards, interactive systems. And all this is because we are teaching degrees that are technology driven, be it fintech or be it the complementary to fintech, which is data analytics. Now, if you talk of fintech, from the simple GPay where you're scanning a QR code to make a payment, to your credit cards, to your online banking, to your international transactions, everything is now technology driven. And the financial markets are doing the heavy lifting when it comes to the technology drive in India. India is the world's first country to have an online payment system, settling the payment immediately. There are companies that are based out of GIFT City, for instance, GlomoPay, where an international transaction was settled in 48 to 72 hours. They've made it a reality to 4 to 6 hours. So you don't even have to wait for 3 days. Where is this technology coming from? Where is this ideology coming from? It's coming from classrooms like Deakin and ours, where you learn about technology, where you learn how to ideate, where you learn how to innovate. And when you talk of an ecosystem that is around you, like GIFT, which is again India's first smart city, what better innovation than that? And it's a fully operational smart city. So it's just not namesake, but it's actually operational. And it is providing the platform. So once a student graduates from a university like Queen's, Deakin, or University of Wollongong, UOW, the student gets to experience firsthand what it is to make the future that they want to belong to, because they've learned how to make it in the classroom. And again, fintech, as I said, it's one of the driving forces of the financial markets globally, and thankfully India is leading it. So what better place to be at than GIFT City to learn about financial technology?
No, thanks. I think, you rightly mentioned, probably when you speak to financial services companies, I think largely they are all driving towards technology. And when you speak to technology companies, largely they are serving to the requirements of financial companies. But when they hire engineering graduate who is a tech expert, but many a times he needs financial services, acumen. And when you speak to a financial services guy, I think he's very well, educated in the financial services, but the technology is still missing. Probably the fintech program that you are offering probably will bridge that gap in terms of creating that, a fintech expert, right?
Yes, so that rightly said, thank you. So our financial technology program, which is the Masters in FinTech and the Masters in Data Analytics, both these programs are designed in such a fashion that if you have absolutely no background of finance, data analytics, or technology, you can still very comfortably walk into the program. Because the initial few core subject areas that you study are foundational building. So say, for instance, a student who's graduating with a bachelor's of business in marketing. Marketing, again, is being driven by data analytics. They can walk into our data analytics program. A student, say, who studied a BTech engineering in computer sciences or software programming or web development, DevOps, artificial intelligence, they can easily walk into our FinTech program, get the foundational knowledge of finance, and see how the technology that they've learned can lead into the development of the next financial technology platform. So how artificial intelligence can marry with the finance industry, understand the regulations, understand the ethics behind it, and then maybe come up with something that is absolutely groundbreaking. And that's where, again, innovation comes into play. So absolutely, anybody with a non-financial or technical background can walk into the programs.
Perfect. Now coming to Margaret, thanks for patiently listening our conversation, and we are looking forward to having you as a part of the ecosystem very soon. We understand you have obtained the required approvals, and your campus is also coming up in a big way. Probably that will also become one of the largest campus in GIFT City going forward. But with 2 Australian universities now already present, the first UK universities which is now becoming part of the GIFT City ecosystem. So probably if you're looking for going to the Australia or a UK education ecosystem, you don't need to travel there. I think they have come closer to our place, and they are now going to offer the same degree and same kind of a quality education to GIFT City now, from GIFT City. So Margaret, I think if you can help us understand about the Queen's University Belfast, how you are ranked globally, and second, so that it will also help the people here to understand about the recognition that you already carry basically globally. And second, your plans for GIFT City, because some of the aspiring students who may be looking to take the admissions in January 26 or probably in the mid of 26, what kind of programs that you are planning to offer so that they can start looking at it and evaluating from now? Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, Sandip, and hello everyone. I'm delighted to be joining you, albeit virtually. But thank you to the Ahmedabad Management Association, as others have said, for hosting this evening. I wish I was there in person. I will be there in about 3 weeks' time, so looking forward to connecting again with colleagues and potential students and parents when I'm next out there. This is a really exciting time for us, and we're a little bit further behind in our planning than, or in our operationalising of the campus than Deakin and Wollongong. But our campus will be open by the end of 2025, and we're looking forward to welcoming our first cohort of students in early 2026. Just to maybe give you a little bit of a flavour of Queen's University, it's a leading institution within the UK. It's a member of the UK Russell Group, which is the 24 research-intensive universities in the UK. It's a little bit like the Ivy League in the US context. I think what that means in terms of student experience is that our staff are world-leading academics. They are world-leading researchers. So when it comes to how that is translated into the classroom for our master's programs, it means that you are being taught not by the people who are reading the textbooks. They're the people who are writing the textbooks. They're the people who are writing, the next and producing the next level thinking in those subject areas. We're the 9th oldest university in the UK, and this year we're celebrating our 180th anniversary, so it's a very exciting time to be opening up our new campus in India, in GIFT City, during this year. Just in terms of our ranking, yes, Nymay mentioned the QS World University rankings. We are ranked 206 overall in the QS, with 21 subject areas within the top 200. Our top ranking school is pharmacy, which is 19 in the world, and we're very excited about developing our footprint in GIFT City and in Gujarat and engaging with wider industry there in some of those areas. In terms of the subject areas, that will be very core to GIFT City. We're ranked 5th in the UK for accounting and finance, 3rd for construction, surveying and planning. We're 1st in the UK for graduate outcomes, so that employability theme is absolutely key to what we do. And I think another key point to make about Queen's is that it's consistently ranked either 1st or 2nd in the UK for entrepreneurial impact. What we do really well is develop students who are going to be not just future job seekers, but future job creators, helping students develop their skills in entrepreneurship, innovation, creativity, creative thinking. So we bring all of that to GIFT City, and we're very excited to be doing that later this year. As Sandip said, it's going to be a big campus. We will be opening a 10-storey building later this year, all of which will be dedicated to Queen's and our future plans. And our plans start with master's programs in the first instance, but what we want to do beyond that is develop into PhD opportunities, to industry engagement, to creating opportunities to support commercialisation, spin-out culture, and so on. And that will be absolutely critical in our collaborations with people in other universities and more widely in business. Our programmes, like those at Deakin and Wollongong, are so focused on future-ready skills. It is about defining what industry needs for the future and responding to those talent pipeline needs. So we are initially launching 4 full-time master's programmes, and those are 1-year master's programmes. And 2 more coming on later in the year in 2026. So our full portfolio will include MSc Finance, Financial Analytics, Business Analytics, Construction Project Management, and then slightly later, AI for Business and AI. So our Artificial Intelligence programme is delivered by our School of Computer Science, so very technologically focused. Our AI for Business is very much focused on those questions of how all of the businesses that are now being transformed by AI, how do they engage with that ethically? How do they create appropriate governance? How do they use that in ways that are appropriate and trustworthy in their businesses? So very exciting time. We are, in terms of our sort of strategy and how we want to engage in GIFT City, this is a really significant investment for us. As has been mentioned, we are setting up a big campus. We want to have a real impact through partnership in GIFT City and the wider region. And what we want to do, as Deakin and Wollongong doing, is providing world-class educational opportunities. And we do that through providing research-led teaching. As I said, that Russell Group context is what ensures that we have staff who are absolutely the leading thinkers in the disciplines. So, for example, we have our colleagues who are world leaders in artificial intelligence, in cybersecurity. It's their research that defines the programmes that we are offering. And those programmes are also co-designed with our industry partners. So we're looking at the highest quality level of education, and employability is also going to be absolutely core to what we do. So embedded in those 1-year master's programmes are, as Nymay was saying, localised case studies, engagement with local industry. But what we also try to do at Queen's, and this is, I think, one of the reasons why we are ranked #1 in the UK for those graduate outcomes, is to offer our students not just those master's programmes, but also an additional professional qualification, which we built in for all of our students, offered to all of our students, which is a Chartered Management Institute qualification in strategic leadership and project management. So all of our GIFT City students will get that, that'll be offered to them, and that gives them those high-level leadership, problem solving, project management, communication skills that will really help them to stand out to employers. My previous role before this one was establishing our graduate school at Queen's. And what we said at Queen's is, it's not enough for students to have subject skills. We need to develop them as thinkers as leaders, as communicators, as innovators. We don't know what the future holds. It's so constantly changing with technology that we have to create people who are adaptable. And part of what we do through that Chartered Management Institute qualification is create those future disruptive thinkers who are ready to adapt and flex with whatever happens. So alongside their master's, students will get that professional accreditation. And then we continue to look after our students, as other universities will do after graduation. We already have a well-established graduate career service in India. We have a team in India who already support our students who are based in Belfast from India, who go back home and are looking for employment. So we're already working very hard at creating those interactions with with employers in Gift City and beyond. And what we're also hoping to do, just to create that standout international experience, is to give students who are based in Gift City the opportunity perhaps to come to Belfast for a month to have a summer school leadership training, engagement with industry here, so that they are developing really those truly global citizenship characteristics that will really make them stand out internationally wherever they want. And as I said, our plan after our first iteration, our first master's programs coming through, we want to develop that research culture with PhD students, with innovation, commercialisation of research. So at the moment we're standing up our team. We have appointed a leading academic from within Queen's currently to be our new dean. And we have just this week launched a global campaign to recruit the best quality talent from across the world to come and deliver the experience that is absolutely equivalent to the one that is offered here in Belfast. So academics who are PhD trained, who have long teaching experience, who are research active and who are bringing that real quality to the table here. I should probably stop, but that gives you a little bit of a flavour of what we're hoping to achieve in Gift City.
Thanks, Margaret. I think it gives kind of a clear understanding of your larger plans for India and for Gift City, and I think we all are very excited to see the campus coming up. I think 10th floor you mentioned, which is going to be which is going to be become
signed
one
off
of the
plans today. It's very exciting.
Absolutely, yeah. Which is going to be like one of the largest campus in Gift City for a university, and the kind of programs that you mentioned, I think they are all very well, and if you look at the Gujarat strength, I think, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Gujarat is known for the entrepreneurship. And you mentioned about creating the job creators, not only the job seekers. I think it definitely matches with the Gujarat's strength in terms of creating the right kind of entrepreneurs in the state. Now, probably Akshat, coming back to you, many times parents and students have questions. They have been kind of, they are used to the degrees coming from the UGC recognized universities. And they have a question whether the degree that they will get is recognized by the government, right? Because ultimately it's important that when they pass out from the university, they should be able to become part of the professional journey, and the degree should be well recognized. So being a regulator, your comments in terms of how do you see the recognition of the degrees offered by these foreign universities? That is question number one. And number two, while 3 universities we are seeing, they are with us today, how do you see the attractions from the other foreign universities that with whom you are, I'm sure you are interacting with? Are you expecting more universities to be a part of the ecosystem going forward? Yeah.
I think that's a very important question, because we have students and parents. And to assuage their concerns, let me just highlight 4 or 5 very critical advantages from a regulatory perspective, from a legal perspective. So when this project was announced in the budget, the first question we internally discussed was that we are a financial regulator, very similar to the Reserve Bank of India or SEBI, or if somebody's from insurance background, IRDAI. Then how can we regulate universities? So that was the first question that we sort of internally deliberated. And the thought process, then we further delved into that whether we should reinvent the wheel and ask universities to, or at least from our perspective, our regulations should be very prescriptive, and nitty-gritties also we should specify, or we should have a broad sort of, just specify the terms and conditions and let the universities run on autonomous basis, because all foreign universities thrive on autonomy. So once the regulations were then drafted, we incorporated 4-5 very critical components, which includes even the recognition aspect that Sandip ji just mentioned. So the first is that we have kept a very stringent eligibility criteria for universities. That means no fly-by-the-night kind of university can come to GIFT. Only top 500 in QS World Universities ranking or subject ranking. So that is the main filter. So that naturally will attract only the best universities of the world. Secondly, these lectures or delivery mode has to be physical. So these are classroom teaching. It's a classroom face-to-face teaching. It's not online mode. Third, the degree has to be identical to what the degree they would have otherwise imparted if these degrees were if these courses were conducted in their home campus. So same recognition, and in terms of equivalence, this again is a very important point because often Indian students go overseas to study, and when they come back, then they have to approach AIU, which is the body in Government of India for equivalence. Now what we have done is that at least for universities from UK and Australia, so both our governments have signed mutual recognition agreements. By virtue of that, all universities from Australia and UK will have recognition and equivalence in India, and every student individually does not have to go to AIU for recognition. So what that simply means is once you get a Deakin or a Wollongong degree, it will be equivalent to a degree obtained from an Indian university, and for your government exams or higher education in central and state government universities, those universities would be recognized, qualifications would be recognized. So these are, I think, 4-5 factors. And one important factor, I think, which all of you should keep in mind is that the price point, because we have often seen that, parents take a lot of loans when they want to send their children abroad for higher education. So what we have done, while as a regulator, we have not mandated any prescription as to how much the universities can charge. But so far, what we have seen is that the price point is very competitive. And therefore, for an Indian student to get a foreign qualification at a very affordable price is now a reality through GIFT City. I think this is an opportunity which should not be missed. Obviously, the ecosystem is growing, but over the course of, I think, next 2-3 years, because these are the first batches, this is for the first time in the country. I don't know if all of you are aware. In India, since the last 70 years, this foreign universities that standalone campuses have never been allowed. Now, only last year, UGC has also allowed in domestic India. That is part of larger liberalization agenda. But first university on standalone basis were only permitted in GIFT City in India. So I think that's a very big and progressive policy announcement. So everybody should really consider. And in terms of the new universities that we are sort of speaking to, some universities they've already declared in public domain, so I can mention that here. University of Surrey, again, that's another university which would be applying to us very shortly. Again, it's a top quality university. I mean, it has a very good ranking in QS. So we'll have 2 Australian universities and 3 UK universities. Queen's, Margaret is already here. Another UK university that we have given approval to is Coventry. And Coventry is again a very reputed university in terms of Indian students. A lot of Indian students travel to the UK to get their qualifications from Coventry. They've also been granted in principle approval probably. And interestingly, they will be commencing with undergraduate courses. So if anybody from, your family or your friends, they're looking at, foreign opportunities at an undergraduate level, probably GIFT can be a very good, compelling, proposition.
Thank you, Akshat. I think it gives confidence to everyone that, it's a right choice to be a part of the overall ecosystem. Now, Carl, very basic questions many times, like how do they become part of the, the university campus? Because we know to be a part of the IIMs, CATE is the exam. To be a part of some of the government of Gujarat affiliated colleges, there are certain entrance exams. But question number 1 for from the parents and students, what is the procedure to kind of apply or for the admissions in the university, specifically Deakin University? what kind of process that you undertake? Because I understand you also have a very detailed laid out process in terms of identifying and shortlisting the students. And the third about the campus facility, whether it is mandatory for the students to reside there basically in the campus, or and what is the current strength in terms of whether they have been appointed from Gujarat or outside Gujarat? Some numbers if you can highlight here.
So I'll first talk about the first cohort that we had. So July 24 is when we started our first batch, 43 students. We had about 30 students studying in our business analytics program and about 13 studying in our cybersecurity program. In terms of demographics, we had about 60% of the students who came from tier 1 cities of India, like the Bangalores, Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and another 40% who were residents of Gujarat. So that's a good healthy mix where you find enough coming from tier 1 cities, other parts of the country. We have a good male to female ratio, 60-40, I would say. So it's a good balance, 60% male to 40% female ratio. About 80% of our batch are freshers. We have about 20% of the batch who come with about 2 to 3 years of working experience. So it's again a very diversified cohort that we have. Talking about eligibilities, so 2 emerging tech programs, so we have certain eligibilities when we take students on board so we can work further on them. For business analytics, because it has a business component to it, we accept the other tests that are taken in India. So we accept scores like CAT, ZAT, NMAT, CMAT, SNAP. We also accept GMAT and GRE because students give that when they want to probably go to study abroad, so it's an advantage to them. Students need to have a certain percentile of score in these tests. If they're able to meet that, we ask them to apply for the program with their mark sheets. We hold a panel interview, a virtual one. We don't necessarily want the student to come down to the campus. We hold a panel interview. Our major reason to hold this is to understand what is the motivation or passion behind pursuing this program. What do you think is your long-term, short-term goal out of doing this program? We would really want to know your reason behind doing the program rather than us offering the program. That's the eligibility for business analytics. For cybersecurity, again, the eligibility students need to come from an ICT, information and computer technology background. You need to have done probably a computer science, computer engineering, or a BSc IT program before joining a master's in cybersecurity because it's a core technical program. And what we've seen is it's a very specialized program. Usually students, after having completed a 4-year undergrad program in India, very few opt to go to do another master's. But the ones who opt to do have a very clear line of sight why they want to do it. They understand there is a huge demand for this particular sector in India and globally. Within India itself, in this particular financial year, there are 10 lakh job openings in the cybersecurity domain. So it's a very specialized and a very niche field for students to pursue. That's from an eligibility perspective. In terms of contacting the campus, we have regular open days on the campus. We do open campus tours. So feel free to walk down to the campus whenever you're free, probably somewhere between 9 to 5. We'll be happy to show you all the campus, the infra. So because it's Deakin's newest campus, most of the infra on campus is state of the art. All the hardware is state of the art. Our cybersecurity lab unmatched. We have a business analytics lab separately as well. Multiple classrooms, library, open spaces. And talking from a curriculum perspective, what's unique about the curriculums that we teach as international universities is at Deakin, for example, if a student has a lecture on a certain day, they sit for a 1.5 hour theoretical session, and it's immediately topped by a 1.5 hour to 2 hour practical session in the lab. So on that very same day, you get the chance of practically applying what you've theoretically learned in the classroom. So the absorption rate is higher. We give a lot of importance to a balanced approach towards teaching, which is enough of classroom teaching and practical learning, hands-on. So that's how we've approached, and our students have now almost completed a year. Thanks to the ecosystem at GIFT City, a lot of our students are already doing short-term projects with companies within GIFT City. So they are doing, solving problem statements for companies that are into consulting, into IT, into finance, into alternate investment funds. So they are getting a real-time opportunity to collaborate with these companies before they go to do their internship. So by the time when they'll approach an internship or a placement, they already have a sense of what's expected out of them when they hit ground zero. Thanks.
Thanks. So I think we consider it as an open invitation from Deakin University.
So please come down to the campus. We'd be happy to give you all a campus tour.
So please, whenever you are closer to Gandhinagar side, I think you should take that opportunity and visit the Deakin University campus. It is in the Special Economic Zone SEZ area. Just when you enter the SEZ zone, right side first building is the Deakin University campus, and it's a very beautiful campus. I've personally visited multiple times, and you must visit. Nymay, I think whenever parents or kids decide to be a part of a particular university or campus, and specifically when we are talking of foreign university, they would also expect to have a global culture to experience with, right? Because when they want to become part of an Australian university, they would also expect to have some global exposure or a global culture to be associated with. And that's where if you can also give us a sense in terms of how University of Wollongong is ensuring that the students, when they are becoming part of it, will also enjoy the similar experience or the exposure that you generally give it in your home campus. And second, we understand you have also done some corporate tie-ups, like with the institutions like Glomopay and all. So what are those tie-ups, and whether it is helping students to kind of get the experience with the corporates, practically? Yeah.
Right. So that's an excellent question. And look, all that boils down to how is a degree going to position a student to be successful in life. And so the approach that University of Wollongong takes is that we look at the long-term trajectory rather than just looking at the first shot that you get. So it's foundation that enables a long-time career trajectory, be it in an entrepreneurial space, an innovative space, or in a corporate space. So one of the strong core points of our degree is a component called work-integrated learning. So every course that a student studies, there's a degree of work integration into that program. So they would either have to finish a industry project under the industry supervision, or they will have to do a capstone project that is supervised and in conjunction with the industry. There will be an internship component, there'll be a placement component. So all these components ensure that a student is not just restricted to the classroom experience, but to the wider industry experience. Coming to the next part, why do we have so many corporate partners? And when I say so many corporate partners, we're talking of the top 10 banks that you can think of, like ANZ, HSBC, talk of KPMG, talk of Deloitte, talk of Cognizant. They're all there, IBM. And the reason why all of them are there, even from a very unique institute or organization like Aphthonia Labs, which is a startup incubator, to Plug and Play, to Glomopay, all these companies, they're not just partners to ensure that students get jobs. Their experts come into the classroom. They do guest lectures. So when an academic is talking to you about how a particular theory or concept works, how it was formulated, these experts tell you how they are really applied in the real world. So if you're learning about something like the competitive environment of, say, any industry, the theory tells you about, the Porter's 5 forces or anything of that sort. But these experts come to the classroom and they say how they really function in the real world. When somebody says that, oh, so-and-so is a competitor. So for example, Samsung and Apple are competitors to each other on the mobile phone industry. What makes them competitors? Even though Samsung is an Android phone, Apple has its own operating system through iOS. How do they become competitors to each other? What is the impact of that competition in terms of marketability, in terms of consumer benefits, in terms of consumer psyche? Those are the kind of things that you actually learn firsthand from these industry experts. Now, how does this translate in terms of student success? So we ranked 44th in the world for graduate outcomes. And about 87 point, don't quote me on the number, but it's something approximately 87 point something % of our students have been regarded by employers as highly employable, with most of them finding jobs without our assistance within less than 1 month of graduating. Wow. So that's a highly employable workforce that we are creating for the future. So, and that is what also attracts these future employers to come to us, partner with us, and want our graduates in their organizations. And given the time constraint, I'm just going to pass it back to you.
Thanks. I think my probably great insights, because I think that's the confidence that students want, that after the program I should be employable to some of these leading institutions. My last questions to Margaret. I think you mentioned about future ready skills and the research as well, right? I think both of these components are going to be very critical in today's world. How do you see Queen's University Belfast in GIFT City, giving importance to these two areas? And do you have any plans in mind in terms of, say, industry engagement or corporate engagement to focus on these two aspects?
Yes. Absolutely, in much the same way that Nymay has described, that industry participation is core to what we do. It's core to what we do in Belfast, where our programs have all been co-designed with industry leaders. And where we do also have those industry leaders coming in, as we call them, professors of practice, who are in there in the classroom, providing that practical understanding of kind of theoretical concepts. So we are now very well advanced in our engagement with industry in GIFT City to ensure that we have that same ecosystem there that's available to our students. So that will partly be that in terms of the examples that students will have access to in the curriculum will be localised. We'll be working with industry there to provide real life challenges that the students will have to work together on in order to address for industry partners, and that will be developing into kind of placement and internship opportunities. So we're very well advanced, as I said, in that process of engaging with institutions, with government officials, with industry, and also with the wider university ecosystem, because we do already have a number of well-developed partnerships through our Belfast campus with some of the IITs, but also with some of the leading industry. I mean, we have a number of students already in Belfast who go and have internships in companies like Infosys in India. So we will be leveraging that for the students who are based in GIFT City. I mentioned before that wraparound personal and professional skills development that is core to what we do at Queen's. And so we're taking our graduate school concept that I mentioned, which is based on those 5 pillars of training students as thinkers, leaders, innovators, communicators who are future ready, and we're bringing that into GIFT City and we're setting it up there. And that will be through that Chartered Management Institute programme, and part of that involves industry coming to us and saying, here's a challenge we face, let your students come up with solutions for us. So that will be offered, as I said, to every student. We will be creating, I said, opportunities also for students to come and spend time and have a summer school in Belfast, which would be very much industry focused. And again, that's part of creating that ability for students to be prepared to work internationally. And we would hope also to have the opportunities for students from Queen's to go also and spend some time on our campus in India. So again, students are getting that cultural, that intercultural awareness, which is so much what parents want for their children when it comes to an international education. So we're going to do that also by bringing some of the Queen's campus and Queen's students to Gujarat as well. As I've said, we've had a program, a graduate outcomes program running in India for probably the last 5 years. And that again is about creating the opportunities for students to engage with employers during their program, so that by the time they are ready to graduate at the end of their year with us, they will hopefully, many of them, be walking straight into employment in GIFT City, wider Gujarat or beyond. So I said we're still in some of the development stages on this, but we already have 90 plus employers who are keen to work with us in GIFT City.
Thank you, for the details. I think we have already taken our, time, and I think thanks for giving the right kind of information, because it's generally not easy to get all this information at one forum. And I think, having 3 universities and regulator together to speak about some of these opportunities plays very important role for decision making for the students as well as parents. I don't know if you have time to take 1 or 2 questions, or maybe 1 question and then probably, yeah. You can share it there, I think.
Hello. Hello. Thank you for the very insightful session, for the opportunity for students to study in the foreign university. You talk about everything about the opportunity, the study, the university as a practical knowledge. The lastly you discuss about the employability. But I want to know one more thing. Whenever students go to overseas, they get the work permit. So do you have any extra features like that if you students to study over there, so get the any kind of special permission, so go over there and get the work permit on the basis of GIFT University qualifications?
I think, let me answer this. That, during a consultation process and, you know, in some of the seminars, we often get this question that will we get the OPT, the optional practical training visa that otherwise that you get probably in the UK, in the US for masters it's 2 years, for undergrad I think it's 1.5 years, or Australia similarly. But we examined the process as to why these visas are given, and all countries have a mandatory requirement that this post study visa would only be given if the student actually studies in their home campus. So if a student is studying in an offshore campus, because for them this is an offshore campus, those visa extensions currently are not, provided. Probably in the future, if the immigration laws change in those countries, but the trends are actually negative. We are seeing tightening of the immigration policy rather than, liberalization. But I think one other point that I should highlight here is that now the opportunities in India, right, now the tide has sort of reversed. So the employment opportunities are in GIFT, they're in India. So if you get a foreign award in GIFT City, I think there are ample of opportunities, employment opportunities that you can sort of explore within the country itself.
That you can continue talking to them after the program is over. So first of all, I would like to thank Sandip, for conducting, this particular panel discussion, moderating extremely well. And I think all the people who are here today have got complete idea. First of all, having a foreign university in GIFT City itself is a very innovative idea. And we know the benefits, I don't have to enumerate. It's a win-win. I mean, at a much lower cost, you're getting quality, absolutely, I would say, latest, education through a proper pedagogy, which is very important, maybe a physical education, not an online, and that, being delivered by best of the faculty members, resulting into a kind of a degree or certification or a diploma, which is recognized all over the world, and it is equivalent, to the respective universities, which, as you know very well, are amongst, probably the best that we have in the country. I mean, like, Wollongong, could be, equivalent number 3, maybe number 1 IIT Mumbai, IIT Delhi. After that, you come to that. Queen's University is again, a very recognized university from UK, and likewise, Deakin, So all the universities are, the wonderful universities, and I'm glad that there is a filter that has been put to allow only the best of the, 500 universities in the world to think of, coming and establishing. I think, this particular movement of the Government of India is going to set a higher standard, and I guess, this will be resulting into many other universities coming either to GIFT City, or tomorrow Government of India may open up, another place which is going to be for similar kind of courses, or under the NEP, new education policy Government of India has got, wherein even the domestic universities may be, given that. I personally think that one of the distinguishing features amongst these universities operating in GIFT City and the Indian universities is the level of control, the autonomy. And it is the autonomy, it is the freedom, it is, a kind of a latitude which is given to these centers, is going to produce best of, maybe the outputs and best of the students coming out. But the similar thing when, probably transposed into Indian universities would also be, great. A benefit that I see for the country is foreign exchange saving. I mean, whether we like it or not, I mean, a student going to the US is spending close to $50, $60, $70,000. That is only for the tuition part. There's a lot more money that the parents and others have to spend when they have to go and see. So win-win on the foreign exchange. You have the best of India. Many people don't want to go outside. They would like to have their own the connectivity, social connectivity here in India. So all those benefits are there. And I personally think, first of all, Government of India and IFSC, they have done a great job for setting a kind of a high standard of such an effort. And I think it will be very successful. I can only recall and tell you that when IIM Ahmedabad was set up, in the first year there were 60 students, going back to 64, 65. But today, if you look at the IIMA graduates, I see a bright future of the similar kind when it comes to these universities, and really compliment each one of them. Margaret, from Belfast, Queen's University, Mr. Kalyani, from Wollongong, and Carl Saldanha from Deakin, to give us such a wonderful exposition on what their plans are. They are really top class plans, and we have to see that Ahmedabad, Gujarat and India benefits from this. It's a win-win for everybody. Knowledge is brought by them. Knowledge, is, being, maybe, delivered, to the people here, and it's up to us to take it forward. And to answer your question, I mean, bright students coming out of these places will be able to get, obviously, H1 visa or other visas very comfortably, like even Parul University is able to get. So I think, all the very best to GIFT initiative. All the very best to all of you who are desiring of getting into that. And first and lastly, thanks to AMA for bringing this kind of a bright and beautiful panel, and Margaret joining from Belfast. And I think we are in for a very, very good innings when it comes to foreign education of foreign universities on the Indian soil in GIFT City. Thank you very much.